The next speaker I've known for 13 years because when I did my first retreat in 2010, he was the warden at the Kolbe unit, and he's the warden that got Kolbe Prison Ministries into the Kolbe unit, which in turn now we're going all over the country. So a little bit about Gene Monroe. He began his career with the Texas Department of Criminal Justice in 1994 as a correctional officer. He was quickly promoted through the ranks, advancing to assistant warden and senior warden at several TDCJ units. He was warden at the Kolbe unit when the very first Kolbe retreat was held there in 2009. He holds a master's degree in criminal justice management and was recently promoted to director for TDCJ Region 2, which includes the Dallas area. Warden Monroe kept us out of a lot of trouble when Kolbe Prison Ministries first started. We were so gung-ho, and between Jeremy and myself and a few others, we could make a lot of mistakes without even trying. And fortunately, he had our backs, and he knew our hearts were right, even though our brains weren't right all the time. So anyway, I want to thank him for that. And so with no further ado, here's Gene Monroe.
Good afternoon. It's a pleasure to be here. It's an honor. It's like the second time I've done one of these, but it's been a while. It's been quite a few years. So, 29 years in the agency. Celebrate next month. Still got tread on the tire, I think. Region 2 wears me out. You know, especially with Vito, Cofield, Michael, and Telford. And then, you know, you can't ever forget about Skyview. So it's never a boring moment, to say the least. Region 6 director in Gatesville for 3 years before I took this assignment. Glad to be back in Palestine. Been there for a little over a year now. And of course, Region 2 keeps me busy. So a little bit about me. You know, the units I worked on, I did Pulaski for 9 years. Opened that unit back in '94. From there, I went to Clarence Nelson Stevenson unit in Cuero. From there, I went to the Conley unit, and I hit Conley twice as a major hand in AW, so, you know, I'm kind of a glutton for punishment. Did the Garza East facility and then McConnell, and then promoted to senior warden at the Charles T. Terrell unit in Rochelle, Texas. Enjoyed that for 6 months. Worked 20 years to be a senior warden and enjoyed it for 6 months. And they made me a deputy director in the Armed Division, which is administrative review and risk management, which covers the grievance and use of force and risk management, access to courts, host of other things. So, you know, I wore many hats, but never really got over the desire to be a senior warden at a big level. So, was blessed to be able to come out of that after about 2.5, 3 years to be the senior warden at the Mark Michael unit there in Tennessee Colony. And that was the first time I had been to Tennessee Colony. And, you know, honestly, if I would have known about Tennessee Colony a whole lot earlier in my career, I probably would not be standing here today. I would have just stayed a correctional officer and stayed in God's country, you know, instead of looking all over this dadgum state. So, but anyway, got to enjoy that for about 2.5, 3 years, and then that Region 6 job came up in Gatesville. So, anyway, that's a little bit about me. So, what I'm here today to do is basically I'm going to give you an overview of the agency. You know, the title of my speech is, it talks about post-COVID TDCJ. But I kind of want, if you'll allow me, I'd like to give you an overview of that, tell you where we're at today and what we're doing, and then answer any questions that you guys might have. And so, you know, I'm a prison guy. I don't have any secrets. I'm not in trouble with the Office of Inspector General. So I believe I can answer anything you guys want to ask. And I'll give you warts and all. Fair enough?
Yes, sir.
There. I made some notes, so I'm going to be looking back and forth at my phone so I can kind of stay on track, because if not, I'll squirrel out of one. Is this microphone reading me okay?
Yep.
I'm not used to talking on the microphone too much because I have a very loud, booming voice. It's my penitentiary voice. But I'll use the microphone. I don't want y'all to think I'm hollering at you. So COVID 2020, I mean, who didn't suffer from COVID? You know, man, 2020, the last 3 or 4 years have been really tough on us. So COVID.
I'll tell you what, I'm more comfortable just doing this. So COVID 2020, you know, I can remember I was the Region 6 director at the time. Fireworks. I was a Region 6 director at the time, and my father-in-law had just passed. And so it was a very difficult time, and then we rolled into COVID. I can remember, you know, having the conference calls. We basically entered a period of time where we pretty much worked every day, 7 days a week for about 5 or 6 months during COVID. I remember when the first death occurred, and how scared I was that I was going to lose my job, and how helpless we felt trying to keep COVID out of the prisons, you know. And when it would hit a town, it was just a matter of about 3 or 4 weeks lead time before it came into the unit that was in that town, because the staff brought it back into the unit, right? So as it went through towns and went rampant.
Is this better?
Yeah.
All right, so as it moved across Texas geographically, that's when our units got affected. And all in all, there's 87 names on the wall at the BOT, which is our headquarters, of staff members that lost their life in COVID that are recognized. And there's 310 inmates that we lost due to COVID. And so that's something that we still mourn. That's something that we're still trying to get over. COVID has not left, it's still with us. It's just not as deadly and not as bad. And we take a lot of measures to try to prevent it by sanitizing, cleaning, staying ahead of it. We came out of COVID to experience the most catastrophic staffing issue that our agency has ever faced. And at its peak point, we're about 8,200 correctional officers short. And of course, it was concentrated in specific areas, with your maximum security units being the most impacted by the staff shortages. And we've recovered a little bit. Right now, the latest numbers are 6,300 short on the job right now. So, you know, we've been able to reduce it, and a lot of that was due to the 15% pay raise that the correctional staff received last year. It attracted a lot of people back, and it attracted some new people, but not as many new folks as we were hoping. So, at some point, we feel like those numbers are going to plateau, because everybody that wanted to come back is back. So, we continue to work really hard in TDC to try to retain staff. We do a great job of recruiting staff. We just don't do a very good job of retaining staff because of the nature of the business. So we're a lot nicer, we're a lot kinder, we're a lot gentler. We're trying. We're trying. We don't fire people as easy as we used to, which I think is a good thing anyway. And honestly, you guys, if you're going into the units and you're doing the ministries on the unit, you realize that we've had to settle and hold on to some staff that probably shouldn't be there. But hey, it's all about security, right? For us. So, you know, that's caused us to have to work a lot of overtime. It's caused people to get burnout. It's caused some of our security procedures to fail. And last year, in May, we had the most catastrophic escape happen that Texas has ever experienced. I stayed in Centerville, Texas for 22 days, sleeping out of my car. eating not real good food, but you know, it's sustaining. Wondering if I was ever going to leave Centerville, Texas. We kept Gonzalo Lopez in our perimeter for 22 days. And on a Friday, a man from Houston took his grandkids fishing at their family place in Centerville. And Gonzalo Lopez was able to take the 4 kids and the grandpa, basically take them unaware, and he killed all 5. He got in the grandpa's truck, and he was able to get outside of our perimeter. We didn't have any roadblocks up at that point. And he was able to get all the way to San Antonio, Texas. We figured out where he was. Pursuit ended up in him bailing out of the pickup truck, and they shot him and killed him. It was not the ending that we wanted. Certainly didn't want to lose the Collins family. The 4 grandkids, ranging from ages of 8 or 9 to 18. 18 years, just graduated high school. And then, of course, Mr. Collins himself. So, certainly has caused a lot of things in TDC to change and improve. Certainly has ratcheted up a lot of the stress level and making sure that we're watching the bottom line. Things that have come out of COVID and the Collins murders, we've got a whole lot. You know, things that came out of COVID is we realized that when we cut off visitation, that we were really lacking in technology about keeping inmates in touch with their families. And so since then, we've developed video visits, 2 types. Video visits on a kiosk, video visits on a tablet. And starting last year and ending this year around April, May, every inmate in our system, with the exception of administrative segregation 2s and 3s and G5 close custody, have got tablets now. And so that was a big deal for Texas, right? Because we're normally about 20 years behind the curve, right? In technology, right? I mean, we just quit using big cheap tablets. We don't put a lot of money in technology, right? Because we like that manual, you know, that manual labor and doing it hands-on. Visitation we expanded to Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, although we've curtailed that. You know what that is? It's 3 o'clock, that's right, very good. No, that's that other stuff that we do because we have to take heat temperatures every day at 3 o'clock. And all our facilities statewide. So that's my reminder that they take the heat temperature, right? Anyway, we expanded visitation to Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. We curtailed that back because our staffing percentages are so short. We started doing regional releasing. And that's worked out really good for us. We've expanded our religious programming, and we've expanded our vocational and our educational program. And so this is kind of the business that you guys are in, right? Because we were standing outside a while ago and we talked about recidivism, which honestly, recidivism is our report card for TDCJ, right? We're very proud of it. Right now, it's 20.3 in the state of Texas. Does that surprise you? Yes. It does surprise a lot of people. But that means 20.3, 2.3 out of every 10 people, 10 inmates, 2.3 come back to TDCJ within 3 years. That's the matrix. And why is that happening? It's happening because of you guys. It's happening because of people like us. It's happening because of your efforts. You know, when you think about our mission statement, provide public safety, promote positive change in inmate behavior, reintegrate inmates into society, and assist district with crime. Honestly, from the correction side, we're really thinking more about providing public safety than the other 3, right? And that's where you guys come in when you fill that void.
You guys are the reason why we're able to rehabilitate and reintegrate inmates back into society and keep them out. It's your hard work that allows us to be able to fulfill those 4 tenets of our mission statement. And so I want to thank you guys for what you do. Because I know a lot of times it's hard work, you don't feel appreciated, but I can tell you that our leadership team in Huntsville, Mr. Carr, Mr. Mendoza, our division director, Bobby Duncan, I can tell you all the way through the deputy directors, me as a regional director, and our wardens, we are very, very committed to the services that you guys offer, and to the lives that you're changing, and to the men and women in your city. So thank you. Thank you very much. We've got an executive director right now that is very, very, very receptive to program, to religious program, to Kolbe Ministries, to Kairos, to Mike Barber Ministries. And so the time now is right for expansion and inclusion on other units. I was talking to Jimmy over there about how we're going to get back into East Texas. Been out of East Texas for a little bit for some reasons. But now the time is right to get back on these units in East Texas. And I'm certainly, as the regional director of this area, certainly very interested and very accepting and willing to get Kolbe back into all of our units. I'm selfish. I like you guys on all. Because I know the program, I've seen the program firsthand, and I know the program works, and I know it changes lives. So as a Christian, it helps me feel like I'm contributing to God's kingdom by doing what I can from my level and my position to cut through that red tape and remove those stumbling blocks. You know, Jimmy talked about we've known each other for 13 years. I think those are dog years, though. 13 long. Can you guys imagine? I mean, out here I'm this young, impressionable, good-looking assistant warden at the John B. Conley unit, and Larry Ray and Jeremy Hitz and Jimmy Reno drive up. And they want to talk about coming in. I thought, man, who are these fools? But it didn't take long. It didn't take long to realize what their heart was and what they wanted to do. And you talk about the perfect ingredients for God to be able to work. I had a really good Catholic chaplain at the time. He's gone back to India out here. And I was his interpreter. I was his interpreter, Chaplain Marty's. Y'all remember him?
Yes, sir.
So see, nobody could understand him, but for some reason I speak Indian. I don't know. I did not know that God blessed me with that, but he did. And so I'm the only one that could understand him. And so I was his interpreter. So we had the right ingredients, we had the right people in place. God put us all there. You know, there's been a lot of times in my career that I wondered why I was doing what I was doing, honestly. And probably really didn't get it until I was an assistant warden about the opportunity to be able to help people and influence lives in white uniforms, in gray uniforms, and in free world clothes. And so honestly, I may look young, but I'll be 53 in November, and I know for some of you guys I'm still wet behind my ears. But golly, I'm tired. I'm tired. But you know, the ability to help people be able to give back, that's what gets me out of bed in the morning. And that's what makes me want to continue to do this. And I don't know when I'm going to get off the ride. You know, I tell people I joined the service 29 years ago, and it does feel like a service. I don't know when I'm going to get off. Because, you know, you think, man, I'm going to do 30, I'm going to do 30, and I'm going to retire. Well, when 30 gets here, it's like, oh, what's next? What's next? And I don't know what's next yet. But I do know that God will put me where He wants me. I can see His fingerprints over my career for the last 29 years, and now I understand why I spent 11 years in South Texas. I understand why I spent my first 9 years in Livingston, Texas. I didn't understand why I only got to enjoy 6 months in Rochelle. Now I understand going through the Army Division taught me a whole lot. I didn't understand why I was enjoying such great times in Gatesville, Texas. My units were wonderful. I had 19 of them in and around Gatesville, which is a lot. But they wouldn't like me to go to my hotel. Sometimes I wonder, God, what have I done? But it's afternoons like this when I get to come in and I get to share with you guys, and I get to see the eagerness in your eyes, and I hear about how Kolbe Ministries is expanding and going out of the state of Texas. And I think Chapel Barkeys even wants to go to India. Wouldn't that be true? But I hear about all these things, and I just thank the good Lord that I was at the John B. Conley unit back then, 13 years ago, and I was able to be a part of this. So, thank you guys.